every apartment, every house, every office tower was built by tradespeople. Every single one of them. Tradespeople build and repair America every day.
What happens if they all disappeared tomorrow? Where would we be?
Up the creek without a paddle. Tradesmen built America. Not policymakers or desk jockeys, but hardworking, blue-collared men and women. Join me, Roger Wakefield, on conversations with some of the nation's most successful skilled laborers. This is the Trade Talks. So what was it you saw at 9/11 that made you want to help the trades?
It was their commitment to find survivors and just watching them do whatever it took, running into unstable structures, glass is falling, and all they wanted to do was help. And I was just watching them. Some of them had not even the right protection on, but they were doing any means necessary. Working, what people don't really understand is that they work side by side at times with first responders.
Now you say they, who are you talking about?
Welders, plumbers, electricians. People don't realize that sometimes in the eye of a storm, that the linemen are up there fixing the lines, along with first responders who are EMS right behind them. Yeah. And that's the exciting part. And that's what I saw on 9/11 when I was down there. And it just had such an impact on me, personally and professionally, that I was an IT guy and I wasn't a tool guy. And it changed everything for me, just watching that.
So the day the towers got hit, you're in the New York area and you're not a tradesperson. You're not associated with the trades. You're IT, you're a computer geek. What brought you to ground zero?
I had a friend in the buildings. He made it out. And I just got this pit in my stomach. And I said, I need to do something. I was 23 years old at the time. And I convinced my friend in Rhode Island, Ben, to come in. He said, you're crazy. We're not going down there. I said, we have to go down. There was something inside of me that said that. And he shows up in this big blue truck with an American flag on the back, only just a couple days after it happened. And he's dressed up as a tradesperson. And he has a hard hat and overalls for me. And I find myself racing down the West Side Highway from checkpoint to checkpoint. We park the car. And now I'm standing only a couple days after the Trade Center incident where it once stood. And I just was helping them, the tradespeople and emergency workers. And it changed everything for me that I literally put my 2 weeks notice in. I worked for a company in New York City doing IT. Mm-hmm. And for months and months, I had sleepless nights and racking my brain. How do I give back to the tradespeople that I saw on site? And that's where I started my company, ToolFetch, which is an online tool and equipment company that sells tools and equipment to the skilled trades. So electricians and plumbers and welders. And I always feel they are the heroes in blue. They are the people who are making everything work, from infrastructure to bridge work to tunnel work. And we provide one of the largest online catalogs of tools and equipment with over 2 million products.
First of all, you go through checkpoint to checkpoint. How do you get through these checkpoints? Because they had ground zero locked down.
Yes, they did.
They had George Bush coming in.
Yes, they did.
It wasn't an easy spot to get into.
Yes, they did.
How did you get through checkpoint to checkpoint to checkpoint and end up right down at ground zero?
Well, as we stopped at lights. There were people throwing in toothbrushes, people throwing in water and thinking we were tradespeople. Now, you ask me, how do we get down there? I can't give you a straight answer. Maybe it was some divine intervention. I don't know. There was something pulling me down there.
So tell everybody who you are and what you do now.
So after this incident on 9/11, I was racking my brain of trying to figure out how to get back to the skilled trades. And that's where I started an online tool and equipment business with my brother named ToolFetch a little over 20 years ago. We're still going strong today. We still love the business. We sell tools to the skilled trades, plumbers, electricians, welders. Those are the men and women. Those are the people that are doing the hard work, rebuilding our infrastructure, our bridges, our tunnels, and our roads. And we reach them by offering one of the largest online tool catalogs with over 2 million products. So products like lifts, cement mixers, drain cleaners, products like that. That is my way to give back to the skilled trades and what I saw on 9/11.
So you had no experience in the trades, but what you saw made you want to find out, like, how do I help tradespeople?
Exactly. So I was coming from a background of IT. Now, I do have some family lineage in industrial distribution. My father actually sold to ironworkers. So there was some of that.
Right.
But that wasn't my path. And it's as if, and I said it before, divine intervention, something happened there that put me in that path, that situation where it took me from the IT path to the tool path. And that's how I felt to give back.
And it's not just about tools. On LinkedIn, you're about, man, people need to get in the trades.
So about a year ago, and this is just listening to, so I speak to tradespeople every single day around the country, welders and plumbers, electricians, and just listening to all the issues from wages to the shortage. There was something in me, and I'm more introverted than extrovert, and something just kind of snapped. And I said, I need to say something. I need to put something out there. I turned the camera on and I started talking about the skilled trades and the shortage. And I had a video that I did, and I had said, welding is a dying career. And it was one of those videos that went viral. And after getting over the vanity metrics, I just didn't believe how many people in the skilled trades are on LinkedIn, and just the feedback and the comments. And I just made a commitment, Roger, to show up every single day. And this goes back to 9/11 when I saw her, to be a beacon, a voice, and help solve the shortage in the skilled trades.
And the funny thing is, I think LinkedIn knows how many tradespeople are in there. Because when they first started doing LinkedIn Live, they reached out to me and said, look, we want you to do LinkedIn Live. I'm like, y'all don't do LinkedIn Live. They said, no, but we're fixing to start. And I was one of the first 12 people. I was one of the beta testers. So I think that they do know. Look, there's a lot of tradespeople on LinkedIn. I tell people all the time, if you want to connect with me directly, I've got a team that runs most of my social. I don't get to see every comment. I mean, we get 2,000 comments a day. I can't read and comment and reply to every one of them. But normally LinkedIn, that's me. That's my page. I love it because I see the messages that come in through there. I connect with people through there. That's where I find sponsors. That's where I reach out to people that I want to do brand deals with, things like that. You talk about people needing to get in the trades, and we've had great conversations the last couple of days. There's 1 million unfilled trades jobs across the United States right now. And I talked to somebody just the other day that they're up in, I think it was Sacramento, San Francisco, somewhere like that. He said, I could hire 90 technicians today. I need them. 90 for one company. He's like, I've got a spot to fill where I need 90 technicians, not apprentices, not people getting in. And that number is going to keep growing. And I hated telling him this because there's more people retiring every year, because the median age of tradespeople is probably about 55, 58 years old. That means in the next 7 years, they're going to be 65, ready to walk out the door. And for every 10 people that retire each year, only 4 are getting in the trades. How do we fix that?
You hit the nail right on the head.
Oh, this is my Bible. I preach this every day, brother.
It goes back to the messaging, right? You have to understand, when it comes to when you're younger, what is spoken about in the household? Is it about going to college?
Mm-hmm.
Is the trades even spoken about?
Not at all.
What happens a lot of times, and what I see, is that people who were in the trade sometimes say, I worked my hands so you don't have to. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of that. So it all starts with what's happening in the household. On top of that, when you get to school, what's being spoken about with guidance counselors, teachers? I always say they're the best marketers for college.
Oh, yeah.
The free referrals.
It's funny. I remember doing a career day, And they tell you every one of our students is going to college. And I'm like, why? Those same counselors came up to the end of that and said, so how many people stopped at your booth? I said, 3. They probably had 400 people there. 3 people stopped at my booth. Now, at the time, I was an instructor in a union. I had my own company. I guess I had my own company. I did. I had my own company. So I used to be an instructor in the union. I was still recruiting for the union. Thought they were great. My company was union at the time. And she's like, well, what all did you tell them? I said, look, number one, you don't have to go to college. And they all I'm talking to 3 women, and they all kind of roll their eyes. I said, but I told them that if they got in right now, it'd be a $70,000 a year job in 5 years. I said, but to be honest, it's really probably in 5 years, it's going to be 80 to 85,000 a year, not 75. I said, it's 75 now. So here's what it'll get up to. And they're like, wait, they can get in as a plumber and make $75 to $85,000 a year in 5 years. I said, yeah, if they don't get on an overtime job, that's just going to be 40-hour a week job. And they're looking at each other like, we don't make that kind of money. I said, oh, I know. That's why it blows my mind that y'all keep telling kids they have to go to college. If you're enjoying the Trade Talks, hit that subscribe or follow button, which helps us produce this awesome blue-collar content absolutely free. And now, back to the episode. You got the principals, you got the guidance counselors, you got the teachers, parents, aunts, uncles. All they're telling our kids is if you don't go to college, you're never going to amount to anything.
Now, I can give you an example.
Okay.
I went to college for 4 years. Mm-hmm. I started off as a programmer, and I would be sitting in the lab at 2:00 in the afternoon doing C++ programs and looking at myself and around people and saying, what am I doing here? Right? Because I just thought that's what I'm supposed to do.
Sitting in a chair in front of a screen.
Exactly. Taking advanced calculus. What am I doing with myself? Right? Then I said, well, okay, I like business. So I switched over to MIS, Management and Information Systems. Then I said, okay, maybe finance. So I minored in finance. And then I went into IT. And then after the incident down on 9/11, I went into the tool business. Roger, I came out more confused out of college than when I was in college. And you talk about planning for the future. No one gave me a direction. I just thought this is what I'm going to go find what I'm supposed to do. Right. So I came out with these degrees and it did not help me until I was in the workforce and then figured out what I wanted to do. But nothing set me up.
One of my first coaches, Michael Gerber, wrote the E-Myth. There should be a course in college, maybe even high school, we're going to teach you how to run a business. Now, I took courses like Fundamentals of the Free Enterprise. We did some stuff in it like that, which I thought was a great course. And it's one of those courses that when I took, it's like, okay, this is fun. This is the real world stuff, not advanced calculus. It's like, okay, where am I going to use this? I saw my algebra instructor the other night, and she used to get so mad at me because algebra I could do in my head. I could not do it on paper. I could just literally look at an equation and say it's 6, x equals 6. Go write that on the board. Go write it down. Show me how you did it. And I just look at her. I just slowly write x equals 6. She's like, no, show me long form how you got there. How do I show you what goes on up here? I don't even know if I use algebra anymore. You may every now and then think, okay, gee, what's this? But it's not something I use. But getting into the trades, I quit school my middle of my junior year, ended up going back and graduating. But when I quit, I got a job plumbing. Probably had to lie about my age, but I got a job plumbing. I'm working just outside of downtown Dallas on a remodel for a Wells Fargo building, doing an addition. So I got to do some real plumbing, like commercial, got to tie into some old plumbing, like service work. So it was a little bit of both worlds, but I loved it. How many people do you think sit behind a computer and at the end of the day, they say, oh my God, I love what I do?
Not many.
Is that scary?
It's scary because I have friends who went to college for certain degrees and they came out of college and they completely switched.
Oh, most people
They
do.
went to they went to law school. They were going to be a doctor.
Now, lawyers and doctors, I can understand. Look, you need
Yeah.
college.
You put all this time and effort into your education,
Mhm.
right? And then you completely do a 180 and you do something else. And I have a lot of friends who are just not happy with what they're doing. Maybe it's money driven and just keeps them there. They're just not happy. You found your path in plumbing,
Mhm.
and you're happy.
I still love plumbing. People ask me that all the time. Were you glad you're not plumbing anymore? It's like, look, I love plumbing. I love the analytical, I love the problem solving. I love the not knowing what you're going to get into every day. To me, as a residential service plumber, I mean, you're the superheroes of the world. People call you because they got an emergency. Their toilet's overflowing. Their water's not running. They don't have hot water. There's a million different reasons. But you work with all kinds of different tradespeople. What are their attitudes like? Do they love what they do? I mean, you deal with a ton of them. What are your thoughts?
There is this sense of fulfillment about helping people. And you probably can relate, obviously. Somebody's toilet is overflowing or sink is not whatever it may be. And there's something about that going in and fixing it, knowing you got the heat back on, knowing your alignment, you got the power back on. This that feeling of accomplishment. I built that building, that bridge. There's a lot of, you can't do that in a lot of careers. There's that sense of accomplishment, fulfillment. And I do think that most tradespeople are happy in what they do.
Mhm.
I truly believe that.
There's something to be said. You call it fulfillment. I look at it as I think the trades are one of the most prideful professions. And, I tell people, look, I'm a professional. I have a professional license in my pocket. Okay. It's issued to me by the state of Texas. And I don't care how many times I drive downtown Dallas, there's certain buildings. If there's somebody with me, it's like, I built that. I built that. I built that. And I remember my ex. Yeah, I know. You tell me that every time we drive down here. Well, what's wrong with that?
Yeah.
Every apartment, every house, every office tower was built by tradespeople. Every single one of them. Tradespeople build and repair America every day. It's what we do.
What happens if they all disappeared tomorrow? Where would we be?
Up the creek without a paddle.
Exactly.
And it's where we're headed. It's literally, and look, we've had this conversation. I think in less than 5 years, plumbers that work for a company that go clock in every day and put in their 40 hours are going to be making $100 an hour. It's a $200,000 a year job with no college degree, with no student loan debt. I've done the math. I've extrapolated it all the way down. And I always compare plumbers to doctors and lawyers, salary-wise, wage-wise. You take the fact that the doctor didn't earn anything the first 8 years.
Mm-hmm.
Matter of fact, he accrued debt. And then when he walks out, he's making about the same as the plumber is. Now, he may end up making more, but when you start out 8 years behind, 200 grand in debt, and in 8 years, the plumber's already made, gosh, I'm going to say around 800 grand.
What people don't realize that the trades are to some degree recession proof.
Well, we know for sure they're essential.
They are essential. Stuff goes down. People's heat needs to be repaired. Electricity, lines, you name it. And and I always say this, and this was in some of my videos, is that, if they all disappeared, where would we be? And you're right. We would be up, with no paddle.
Absolutely.
It's a scary, scary thought. And we are pre-programming kids to go to college, but there's not there's not the same opportunities as there once was years prior. You know, you accrue if you pay your own way, you accrue debt. And then a few years later, maybe you get a house, that's more debt. And you just never get out of that cycle. How do you make that back? Versus going into a trade, and you know this, not accruing debt, making money right away. And like you said, there are so many companies out there that need tradespeople
every day.
every day.
If you're in the trades and you don't like the job you have, you can quit and get another one today. Now, there may have been times that it got a little slow or something because of the economy, because we don't know what's going on with politics. You know, and even when I was in the union, people be like, well, I hate the union. You know, you get laid off a lot. You sat home a lot. I never sat home. You become the best employee they got, the best plumber they got, the best superintendent they got, the best foreman they got. You try to fill one of those roles, you're not going anywhere. So that's my thing about people getting in the trades. If you're going to get in the trades, become the very best. Become the best apprentice. Become the best journeyman. Learn the things that you've got to learn to get yourself into those better paying jobs. How do we change that narrative to start getting kids interested in it?
Shop class. What happened to shop class?
We took them out of school.
We took
don't
them out
need
of school, right? I'm a few years behind you, but when I was in school, there was no opportunity or no shop class. So even though that I have a mechanical ability, I like to still work with my hands,
Mhm.
maybe my path would have been different,
Oh, absolutely.
right? So they're all gone. It used to be a prerequisite. Everyone should take some type of shop class. Even if you don't go into the trades, it does give you lifelong skills where you can fix things around the house. Kids today don't know how to read a tape measure. They don't know how to read a tape measure.
I get it. I get
That's
apprentices
basic.
you got to teach to read a tape measure.
That's why I always say it's a lost art.
When I was in school, we had woodworking, we had cabinet making, we had automotive. I mean, I remember in high school, I took apart and rebuilt a lawnmower engine. I remember I've got a bread box in my kitchen right now that I built in high school. I've got a clock somewhere. I need to find it, put a battery in it, but I've got a clock that I built. I remember learning to use a torch, oxygen acetylene, cutting metal. I remember melting aluminum and building a mold and pouring that. How do we change all this?
Well, it goes back to shop class. My perception is to make it mandatory. There should be mandatory. They're doing that in Canada. This is a new initiative. Like you have to take some type of class or credit. Someone's got that technical spark, that mechanical ability, who didn't even realize that. If they took the shop class, they might go to a trade school. They might be interested in plumbing or electrical. Here's a perfect example. I have an extended family member who was working for a large supermarket chain, and now he's going to be an electrician, but he's 30 something. He's got a family.
It's okay.
And it's great. I've tried to help him out by having him speak to people who have been in the trades for a while, and he's super excited.
Mhm.
That's the path he wants to take. But he put, years and years into this other path, and now he's finding his true path. So it's never really too late.
I've seen 55-year-old apprentices that were really good. I think another way that we fill a lot of the empty professions, we've got a lot of military transitioning into civilian life. Have you ever thought about being a plumber, an electrician, an HVAC tech, a welder, a roofer, a carpenter? And most of them are like, no, not really. Like, man, with what you've learned in the military, you have focus. Get clear about what you want to be and attack it with that same zest. And dude, you'll own your own business. If you were talking to an 18-year-old student right now that just walked up to you and said, look, I don't know what I want to be when I grow up, what would you recommend? What would you recommend, and what path would you recommend to go to get there?
First, to see if there's an interest in working with their hands. Because if there's no interest working with their hands, you're not going to push something that doesn't make sense. But if they are interested.
You said, had there been a shop class, you might have found out you love that.
Exactly.
They may not even know that they're good with their hands.
Yes, of course.
I look at it the other way. It's like, look, until you're introduced to it, you have no idea. Okay,
100%.
go ahead. Didn't want to interrupt you. I'm listening to you. You're like, had I known that had there been a shop class, I might have loved that.
Yes, but yes, you also have to be interested. So being interested in a trade or working with your hands, go tinker around the house. Go see what you're interested in. Maybe you're interested in electrical. Maybe you're interested in plumbing. Got to find what you're interested in.
Be careful tinkering around with electricity. Just going to throw that out there.
Of course.
No, I do. I love that because I tell people the same thing about plumbing. Go ahead.
Yeah, exactly. And then if you're really interested, talk to construction companies. Speak to people in your own network. Maybe there's somebody in the trades that's in your family, extended family, friends, someone who can introduce you to somebody. I'm always a big believer in mentorship. Somebody who's been in the field 20, 30 years who can give back to that individual and say, hey, I made it. This is what you need to do. It's extremely important. Maybe get an internship at a construction company. Start that way. Go to career fairs. There are construction companies at career fairs. And I think it's extremely important for construction companies to show kids what's possible. Share success stories. Take them down to the job site. Show them this is what you can build. It's not just building a school. You're building a school so kids get education. You're building a building so people have jobs. You're building roads and tunnels to get people to work. That's exciting.
You're building the future of America.
Yeah. We have a C- infrastructure rating.
If it's that good.
Yeah. And how do you get to an A+? AI and robots are not going to do it. Well, not anytime today.
We are starting to use robots.
Yep.
Man, there's welding machines out there that are phenomenal. So it's going to get there. But I don't think we're ever going to have Rosie the robot out in the field, hanging pipe and leveling it up and tacking it up and welding it out. I think there'll be something close, but I don't think it's going to get there, not in our lifetime anyway. How do people find out if they're interested in the trades?
If they're interested in their hands, working with their hands. That's the first part of this. And to really dive in deep to see what path that they want to take. So if you go back to your original question, if you're 17, 18 years old, if I go to school and I go to college and I spend 6 figures on an education, how long is that going to take me to make it back? A lot of people it will take years and years. It depends what you want to get into versus a trades path. I have no debt. I can go into trade school. I can go in an apprenticeship. I could start making money right away. It's not for everybody. Look, sometimes college is the right path. Sometimes the trades path is the right option. But at least giving the kids an option. Before you sign on that dotted line, you sign that loan, think about that. And that's where, going back to what you said about guidance counselors and teachers, should be having those conversations. They should be at least offering them. I just don't think it's there. Maybe some of it, but a lot of that, and that's why kids end up going to college.
They're told they have to.
And it's also about the old adage about the trades. People look at it and they say it's option B. That's for the bad kids.
You bet.
You're a failure if you go in the trades. That's BS. That's BS. That's the old adage. That's what the messaging needs to change around there. And that's where this is why I pound that message in constantly in videos, that it's not like that. That there are opportunities, like you said. One day they will make $100 an hour, maybe even $200 an hour, as we spoke about. I think that's possible. Good for the tradespeople, bad for the homeowner.
Oh, it's horrible for the homeowners.
Yeah.
Homeowners, the parents that own these homes are digging their own grave and they don't even know it yet. Starting 5 years from now, they're going to realize, wait, we can't get a good plumber. I spoke at a real estate event 2 days ago. And a girl came up and she says, do you know any good plumbers in Chicago? I said, no. I said, I used to, but I don't. He passed. She said, I don't either. I said, you're in real estate. You better. And she says, Roger, when my people call me and ask me, do you have a plumber you recommend? I tell them no. Because our plumbers don't show up on time. If they show up. If they don't show up, they won't answer their calls. if they do answer their calls, that they're so busy they can't get to you. And my thing is right there. If I was a good plumber in Chicago right now, I could set my price at whatever I want to set it at. I tell real estates all the time, look, I'm not the cheapest plumber in town. I'm trying to be the best. You can't be the best and be the cheapest.
I wouldn't want to go with the cheapest.
No, never.
No.
Yeah.
Matches the work.
Bad thing is everybody's house was built by the cheapest bidder, just so y'all know. That's why repair plumbers make good money. We come in and fix all that. But at the end of the day, the parents that are telling their kids not to go into anything but college are creating a future where there's not enough tradespeople, and the really good ones are going to be able to charge whatever we want. I know a company right now. I know a company 5 years ago, I believe in Kansas City, the guy was already charging $650 an hour. And he says, that's my rate. You don't like it, don't pay it. Yeah. But we do things right. We take care of your house. We put down red carpet. We put up plastic. We protect everything. We do everything right. But it takes time. And we got to charge for that. So it's $675 an hour. If you don't like it, call somebody else. Good luck. Hope it works out great for you. He had 7 or 8 plumbers working, and he was busy all the time. Good plumbers. And I go back to, if you get into the trades right now, I don't care, plumbing, electrical, HVAC, it doesn't matter to me. If you get in and you're like, I want to be the best, and you have that attitude for 5 to 10 years, and you do what it takes to be the best, you'll be able to make as much money as you want to make.
Pick and choose the jobs you want.
You bet.
When I speak to my friends in town and they need to have something fixed, they always throw around a few names, and you're throwing around the names who are reliable, the people who do good work, and they'll pay whatever it is. I don't want to wait 4 weeks for a plumber. I don't want to.
And you shouldn't have to.
No. But it's going to that.
Mm-hmm.
It's going in that direction. That's why I think it's a great opportunity to get into the trades right now.
I'll give you a better opportunity. The people that get into the trades right now are going to be the entrepreneurs in 5 to 10 years. Okay? The people that get in and try to become the best make more money. The best get better job opportunities. The best don't have the financial problems that most people are struggling with right now. If you get into the trades right now and you get in with the mindset of, look, I want to be the best. I'm going to do whatever it takes for the next 5 to 10 years of my life to not just get in and become a tradesman, a plumber, HVAC tech, roofer, electrician, whatever it is. I'm going to get in and I'm going to become the best. I'm going to get up every day for 30 minutes or an hour. I'm going to study plumber magazines, electrician magazines, whatever, for 30 minutes to an hour a day. There's new tools, new materials, new techniques, new equipment every single day. And if I do this for 5 years to 10 years, I'm in the top 5% of my industry. If I do it for 5 or 10 years, I'm in the top 1% of my industry. Most people get in the trades these days to make a paycheck. They just want a job. Get in and become the best. Make it a profession. You can do fantastic.
Comes down to mindset.
Mm-hmm.
Some people don't want it, and that's perfectly fine. Some people want it. You would be a perfect example. You wanted it.
Oh, absolutely.
And there was a mindset change for you years back. And as we spoke about, 5 years ago, you're very different than you are today. But that was
100%.
you changing your mindset. And if you don't change your mindset, then you have limiting beliefs.
Mm-hmm.
And you start thinking of, you should be focusing on the good things. And once you shift your mindset, sky's the limit.
And a lot of tradespeople never even realize that.
They don't. A lot of people do.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of people in general, not just tradespeople. You're right. A lot of people get a job, learn to do something, and they do that forever. They don't pick up a book. They don't turn on YouTube and watch a course, a training, and say, wow, you know what? I can learn to do new things. I love Jim Rohn. We talked about Jim Rohn earlier.
Sure.
Don't improve how you do your job, improve you.
Mm-hmm.
How you do your job will improve. But when you improve yourself, you bring more value to you. Most tradespeople, once we get in, we get in the trade to become a plumber, electrician, HVAC tech, roofer, use whatever word you want to put. And if you're a plumber, an electrician, or an HVAC tech, you get that license. You get that professional license. I am a professional plumber. And then you stop learning. If you're enjoying the Trade Talks, hit that subscribe or follow button, which helps us produce this awesome blue-collar content absolutely free. And now, back to the episode. You just keep going to work every day to be a plumber, to be an electrician, to be whatever it is. The day that I started growing is the day that I realized I can learn more things and bring more value. And then it just went, it blew up. And you don't even have to stay in the trades. There's so many career paths around the trades. My son was an estimator. Mm-hmm. He went into the office. He worked on a computer. It's what he wanted to do. I've got a friend that wanted to learn AutoCAD. He wanted to be a detailer. He wanted to draw. Now he understands BIM and virtual reality better than anybody in the country. They fly this kid around the country to work with other branches or companies or jobs or this or that. And he's like, Roger, I fly out of town every Monday morning, fly home every Friday evening. It's how I spend my days, how I spend my weeks, in a hotel room working with another company or on another project. But he makes good money doing it. And I remember when he was a helper working in the field. Yep. And if y'all hadn't seen the podcast interview of John Trammell, go check it out. The guy's phenomenal. But he still to this day is continuously learning. How does that help you? Continuously learning.
There was a book on my desk, and it sat there for a year. It was called The Gap in the Game. And somebody had sent it to me, and I just happened to pick it up one day, and I read it. And it changed my life. People tend to focus on the negative side of things versus the positive side. It's called the gap in the game. Most people are in the gap versus the gain. And it's about looking about how far have you come along in your journey, going backwards. Because people focus on what their goal is. I want to get to a revenue figure. I want to get to, a certain amount of subscribers and such and such. But you need to go back and see, are you a better version of yourself? Because when you start adding up those little wins, God, it changes your mindset. Because people look at it and they say, oh, I'm a failure. I didn't get there. But really, you're not a failure. And I've used this in my own career that I didn't get to my goal yet, but I'm better than I was 3 months ago, 4 months ago. I read other books. I was more self-aware. I changed things. I talked to more people. For me personally, I joined a group called Vistage. Vistage is a group of CEOs and executives, and I meet with other CEOs every month. And you start getting feedback from other people that I never gotten before. And I'm being uncomfortable because they're saying, no, Andrew, you're doing this wrong. It's not what you know, it's what you don't know. And that's what hurts you. And people don't wake up, people don't realize that. And it really first starts with a mindset shift. And for me, it was that book. And from there, it just opened up a lot of doors.
I think my first book that really opened up my mind was E-Myth. This is what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to be the technician, the manager, the entrepreneur, all in one. Imagine doing any job 33% of the time. And then the next one that just really woke me up was Think and Grow Rich. And to see all these steps and things, and rule number one, it starts with desire. You've got to want it. Do you really want it? Because if you don't, and I ask people this about, getting into coaching with me or whatever, are you willing to do whatever it takes? If your answer is no, don't waste your time. I see so many people, and we talked about implementation. People go to conferences. They hear 50 things that can change their life right now. And Monday morning when they walk in the office, they don't do anything.
Mm.
When you hire a coach, listen to what they say and do what they tell you to do. If you hire a coach and say, yeah, you know what, he doesn't. If I just said, Michael Gerber doesn't understand plumbing, I'm going to keep doing this my way because what he's talking about won't work. I remember when I first went networking, I kept saying, look, plumbers don't network. They don't get out and talk to people. They don't do that. Finally got convinced to go. I walk in. It's like, you go your way. I'm going my way. We're here together. I'm going to try this networking thing. By the end of the night, we leave. She's like, oh my God, every time I looked up, you had a crowd around you talking. What were you talking about? They saw my shirt and they'd come up and say, oh my God, you're a plumber. I say, no, I'm a drug dealer. I just wear the shirt because it throws the cops off. And I'd be like, yeah, really, I'm a plumber. And I said, oh my God, I have a problem. Can I tell you about it? Absolutely. I don't have my tools out. I'm not going to fix it or nothing. Tell me about it. And then other people hear it and they start walking up and like, oh my gosh, I had a plumber come out and here's what he did. Do you think he charged me too much? You know, I can't tell you yes or no. Sounds like a fair price to me. I'd have probably charged you more than that, but we do things a lot different. And I don't talk bad about other plumbers, which is very rare in the world today. But it's like, look, there's not enough of us as is. Now, don't get me wrong. Electricians are dogs. At least that's what I say here.
Yeah.
But man, when I see them on the job site or out on the street or something, man, those are my brothers.
Yeah.
And we do. We respect each other. Mm. We value each other. We love each other. It's like, man, look, what can I do to help you? It's like, hey, man, look, it shows me running my pipe right here, but I'm looking up and, dude, you're going to have a problem if I do this. What if I jump down or what if I jump up? What if I do this? And that's the teamwork.
That's why you do what you do. I do what I do.
Mm-hmm.
And we constantly beat the drum about the trades and what's possible in the trades.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously it needs a lot more people and a bigger mic.
Oh, it does.
Than I'm standing in front of.
It does.
In front of.
It does. And that's a pretty good size mic too.
Yeah.
So let's talk about you real quick. How can people get in touch with you if they want to learn more about you and you're talking about the trades? You know, you're on LinkedIn, you're on YouTube. Where all can people get in touch with you? How do they get in touch with you?
Yeah, so I put out a video once a day on LinkedIn. So it's under my name, Andrew Brown, if you want to contact me directly. If you want to talk about trades or just talk about shop, about tools, you can always reach out to me or DM me. On YouTube, it's under our business name, Toolfetch. Or they can email me directly to andrew@toolfetch.com. So
LinkedIn and YouTube are your two big places?
LinkedIn and YouTube.
How do you like making a video a day?
I love being in front of the camera. I just, some people just love doing that. I love doing that, but I it's all about the message.
You bet.
So for me, it's 30-second, 1-minute videos, powerful message about a topic about the trades. And I enjoy doing it.
Yeah. No, you can see it. You can tell.
Yeah. There's a passion behind it.
Mm-hmm.
And as long as I can my goal is to reach at least one person. If I can change somebody who's sitting down, a kid who's 17 and 18 and is thinking about a trades path or a college path and has consumed my content and says, you know what? Andrew's right.
Right.
This trades thing is that's a win for me. All I need is one.
I went to Skills USA in Atlanta.
Yep.
And it was phenomenal because I had so many people come up and they're like, you're the reason I'm here. And it's like, wow. You know, you talk about touching one life. And luckily with the comments that we get, we know we're touching lives. We know we're helping people. We know we're helping people that don't even know it. The people that are going to be able to get a plumber in the future now, or an electrician or an HVAC tech. Knowing what you know now, if you were standing there on that front porch when little Andrew walked out, what would be your message to Andrew?
So if I can go back in my DeLorean, in my time machine,
absolutely,
and go back
fire that flux capacitor up. Let's take a ride.
Exactly.
Yeah.
and sit that individual down, that version of me, I would have him take a look at a trades path. I would have him say, okay, there are two different paths that you can take here. I want you at least to look at the path of a trades person versus going to college. Because the college path doesn't mean it's going to set you up for success. Now, I didn't know that at 18 because I was pre-programmed. And
you bet. You go to college, you're going to be rich.
Yeah. And my parents, that's what they told me. Okay, I'll just go to college and figure it out. I didn't figure it out. And if I could at least share with that version of me that a trades path is possible, I could have been a plumber. I could have been an electrician. And I think I would have done really well.
One piece of advice I like to give kids or even parents are like, look, I just want them to go to college and just then figure out what they want to be. Why don't you have them get a job as an apprentice? Electrician, plumbing, I don't care. Have them get a job as an apprentice for a year. In that year, they can make 30, 40 grand, 40, 50 grand, somewhere around in there. They're still living at home. Have them put up 80% of it. Now, if they want to go to college, they've at least got a little money in the bank. And maybe, my little brother, he worked with me one summer. That's where he decided he wanted to go to college. I don't want to do this. I don't want to dig ditches. And I worked him into the ground. Now he does IT. But it was working in the trades that made him realize, I don't want to do this. He was good at it. He's good with his hands. He still welds. He builds things. He works around his house. He does all kinds of stuff. Very mechanically inclined. But he sees, and I'm going to say computers, IT, he sees the whole infrastructure completely different. And he's like, look, I know how to keep people out of here. And that's what he does. And he loves it. He enjoys it. So I tell people, look, instead of going to college to figure out what you want to be, get a job in the trades. Learn how to read a tape measure. Learn how to use a hammer. Learn how to do something different. Then if you decide you want to go to college, go. At least then you're going to be like, look, I've worked hard. I'm here to learn now. And I think people would go into college more focused, more dedicated, more, hey, I'm going to learn what I want to be when I grow up. Because I've been on a shovel and that ain't where I want to be. Some of us are like, it's a shovel. It's part of my life. Who cares? Andrew, this has been good. Again, where can people find you at?
LinkedIn, active every day. I get back to mostly every single comment when I can. Andrew at toolfetch.com, or our YouTube channel, Toolfetch.
Fantastic. Andrew, this has been great. Thank you very much.
Thanks for having me.